So they're here, Canada, because they beat South Africa in the round of 32. They did that without Cyle Larin seeing the field. KJ asked Jesse Marsch about one of the players that has certainly owned a lot of the conversation throughout this World Cup. Should he start? Should he be on the bench? Should he be featured as a substitute? Here's what the gaffer had to say.
Cyle is a team guy, so I knew he wasn't happy, but he also was really happy for the team. We've had a couple of talks this week about how to now prepare himself in all ways to be ready to go for this match. I know that Kyle's all in it for the team. He'll do anything for the guys, and he'll be ready to go. And I expect that when we do call him on this match, however we use him, that he'll be ready to deliver a great performance.
Christian, what sort of involvement, if any, are you expecting Cyle Larin to have tomorrow?
Well, Jesse played his hand a little bit there when he said, when we do, go to whatever we use him. And I thought that was a little bit of something that he stopped himself afterwards by saying it. I don't expect Cyle Larin to start the game. And I think he's been mistreated at this World Cup. This is a player that scored 2 World Cup goals for Canada in crucial times. And I understand maybe why they decided to go a little bit towards Tani Oluwaseyi in the last game. And he worked really hard, as Tani always does, and pressed well. But there's a couple of things with Tani. He doesn't score goals, and he doesn't get the best out of Jonathan David. And in a game where you need a goal and you need the best out of Jonathan David, I would go with Cyle Larin if you're going to play with 2 strikers. As Jesse alluded to, it doesn't look like that is the case. So, there's been some discussion about maybe Larin didn't run and press hard enough against Switzerland, and that is clearly what Jesse Marsch wants out of his strikers. But in a game like this, where you're going to go even deeper and have a little bit more of a mid-block, and you're certainly not going to go guns a-blazing, pressing high against the Morocco team that will play right through you, I think Cyle Larin is very important, and that's why I asked Jesse about the mental aspects of Cyle Larin going into this game after he's been dropped not once but twice during a World Cup, and he scored 2 brilliant goals for the team. So, as I said earlier, I don't think he's been treated that well, but I don't expect him to start.
Yeah, I would agree with you based on what Jesse said on the dais there. It sounds like he's being saved as an impactful sub, and we've seen him utilized to that effect, right? Where it was, masterful by Jesse Marsch, the way that he maybe pulled the strings or sort of manufactured that response from Cyle Larin with the fingers in his ears for that equalizer versus Bosnia. So maybe he's talking to him and saying, this is the role that we need you to play for us. I don't think he's been mistreated. I think you look at the way that he moved versus Switzerland. Yes, there was not quite the high tempo and the aggression, the running, the hard running that you need from somebody leading the line. He looked like he was carrying a knock, quite frankly, and I think he wasn't utilized versus South Africa because he was maybe tabbed as a substitute for Jonathan David if that match was to go to extra time. And we know that Stefan Eustáquio stepped up and saved the day. We didn't need to go to that, but I think there's a plan for a coach who's much maligned for not having a plan beyond plan A. I think that he's speaking to all of his players. He's backed by them. The respect is there, and Cyle Larin will come off the bench tomorrow, hopefully to great effect for this Canadian team.
It's an odd one. I found it odd that Tani started over Cyle against South Africa as well. I'm not sure how effective it actually was. And then the problem for Cyle is that it doesn't seem like he's the first choice off the bench either. And because that belongs to Promise David and how effective he's been bringing something else into the game. So look, chances and opportunities to get in front of goal and get inside the area, they're precious in games like this, and you need players on the field that show that they can provide a little bit of finish. So if, and that's a big if, Jesse Marsch ends up playing 2 up top, which, we don't have any evidence that he won't play 2 up top because he hasn't. He's refused to show us what that look would actually what that would actually look like over the course of his tenure. I think Cyle Larin has to be the player that starts the game. I would be really, really surprised if Tani Oluwaseyi starts this game. And that's where Marsch, I think himself, leaves himself open to a little bit of criticism. He has to get these decisions right for these games. That's why Marsch downplay. He was even asked the question, I believe it was by you, KJ, was the last question about whether this is the biggest game he's ever managed. Well, yeah. He didn't definitively say yes. Round of 16 game at a World Cup, and he's boasted and bragged about everything that Canada means to him and what the World Cup means. I was shocked he didn't say no, or he didn't say yes. And that tells me that he's playing his cards very tightly, because I don't think that he knows what to expect tomorrow as well. And he's trying to avoid any potential criticism coming his way. This is what happens in international football. It's no offense to Jesse Marsh. Managers are on the hot seat. How many managers have we seen lose their jobs coming out of this World Cup because they were unable to deliver in the moments that mattered the most? So I don't think that's a bad thing, Jesse Marsh, having a little bit of pressure on him, but he's doing a great job. He's like Neo in the Matrix, kind of avoiding those kinds of bullets coming his way.
That's why I asked him the question, and I think it was an opportunity for him to say right there the size and the magnitude of the game and the occasion and the time for his career, and he downplayed it. And it's obviously what they're trying to do is downplay it for his own players in that moment. But I'm with you. If we come off tomorrow and Cyle Larin's not started that game, and no one on this team has scored more goals in 2026, it's not even close, than Cyle Larin. And if we come off the game and they don't win, and he only starts 2 of the 5 World Cup games, I think we have every right to question why.
One Soccer's Christian Jack joining us live from Houston, Texas tonight, powered by General Mills. KJ, go find a TV for the end of this Argentino-Cabo Verde thriller we've got going on right now on the opposite side of Canada in the bracket. But there's a very big chance that the holders are going out. Pretty remarkable to think. France and Paraguay, the winner of that match will see Canada in the quarterfinals should they get through Morocco. All Iberia clash with Portugal and Spain, the US and Belgium in the bottom corner of the bracket. This is Our House, presented by Samsung, is next on Bet365 for the win. Gareth, we just got into pieces of what I'm sure you're about to go through for us now. Your, not projected, your preferred starting 11 for tomorrow against Morocco.
I can't wait to hear what Amy has to say about Wheeler's projected 11. Not what Jesse Marsh will do. This is what me, if I was head coach, if I was the gaffer, I would do tomorrow. 3 changes to the starting 11 last time out. Luke DeFougerolles comes back in for Moise Bombito. There wasn't much to do for Bombito in 58 minutes, and I prefer, if the game is close, for Bombito to come on and finish a game. I also know that if called upon, Moise Bombito could take a penalty. I don't want to see Luke DeFougerolles anywhere near a penalty kick again in my lifetime, please. And thank you. I'm going with 3 in the midfield, 3 in the middle. You could switch Eustachio. He's going to play on the inside. Ali Ahmed's going to go and play wide left. But Mathieu Chouanière is going to come in and replace an out-and-out striker up top. I debated between Chouanière and Sigor. I just think Sigor's versatility and what he can bring, and potentially providing you another option off the bench, might be better to use him later on in the game. Chouanière, you can always count on him to provide an honest effort. He's superior at free kicks, probably Canada's best free kick taker as well. I think that will be useful. And Ali Malbed playing down that left-hand side. Hakimi bombs forward. Richie Larea is going to need help. Ahmed is a pain in the you-know-what to get past because he's physical. He's awkward. He's combative. I think that he can keep Hakimi on his toes a little bit, to be honest with you. And they start Jonathan David up top alone, because that's where I think he should be playing. I've been screaming it from the hills for months now. Let's not be too dramatic here. And I think in a game like this, I don't want to see Jonathan David defending inside his own 18. I just don't. I want to see him leading the line, try to pick apart spaces in behind the back line to take advantage of any opportunity that comes Canada's way. So the 3 changes from the South Africa game, and I think these changes would give Canada a better chance to go out and come away with the result.
Very interesting, Wheels. It's like playing fantasy football with Wheeler, because this is never going to happen, right? Jesse Marsh will never do this, but I do love it. You're not the only one who's been shaking your fist at the cloud to say, Jonathan David needs to lead the line. I would love to see him further up the pitch as well. I don't see it happening. I want to pick apart your 11 a little bit more and your back line. Sure. I think Luke DeFougerolles starts, and I know you've got the left-footed center back and Derek Cornelius there next to him, and I understand the dynamic there with that tandem, but I would go Bombito and DeFougerolles. I have been so impressed with the 20-year-old youngster this World Cup. Just his experience, the way that he plays, his composure just belies his years. And there's no Nico Segur. I know you told me that it gave you a bit of a headache between Segur and Chouanière, but a formation that hasn't really been thrown out. We've talked about needing more help in the middle of the park so as not to get overrun versus a 4-2-3-1 versus Morocco. What about a 4-1-4-1? Frequently, I was the midfielder playing deep that shielded that back line. I think Nico Segur could slide in there quite nicely and then give Canada lots of weapons on the counterattack.
Okay, we know how Gareth and Amy would both line up Canada. Ultimately, though, Jesse Marsh has the final call, and we should find out around just before noon Eastern time. It'll be a noon kickoff Central in Houston, round of 16, Canada and Morocco.